Can we just talk about how cute these two are? Because I really want to talk about it. Today, we are looking at November 9 by Colleen Hoover, and can I just say that this story really does pluck at my heartstrings. As usual, I'm always a little bit concerned about Colleen because she likes to go awry, okay? But this story is a beautiful one. It's a beautiful one. So, don't fret. She did not go awry. My heart is satisfied. So we're looking at the relationship between Fallon and Ben, but most of the story, it really does focus on Fallon and Fallon's history, Fallon's past, and really just Fallon's situation as a whole. There are a few periods where we do look more at Ben, but for the most part, we are looking at Fallon. And I'm going to be honest, I absolutely love the personal growth that Fallon has in this story, because while Ben does have baggage, and we find out later on in the story that he's got a lot of baggage, it's really Fallon's baggage that we're dealing the most with, right? That we have the most interaction with every single time, right? Because the book sort of follows a series of November 9ths. Throughout the story, you see Fallon's growth. Like every year for Fallon, she has grown. She has sort of, she's morphed into something different. She's transitioned. She's changed. She's grown. She's improved. She's matured in a lot of ways, become more confident. And so we do really see this person go from, somebody who's really self-conscious and sort of, embarrassed about her physical body primarily. I mean, the story starts where it's made very clear. She, half of her body is, disfigured because of a burn, and she's super self-conscious of it for good reasons. I mean, I can't even imagine. And so we start the story off where Fallon feels super sorry for herself, right? I mean, that's where the story starts, is where Fallon's just like, oh, poor me, right? Which, I mean, yeah, poor you, absolutely. But she's letting her scars really rule her world. But then she meets Ben. I mean, I love Ben. Obviously, I do not want to make it sound like, oh, Ben saves Fallon's life and Ben's what makes Fallon confident, because I don't really think that we should lean on a person as a crutch, like, oh, this person will make me confident. I'm only confident when I am with them. But Ben really, I mean, he likes her, he loves her, he pays attention to her, he treats her very well, and then he challenges her to do better, right? I mean, they spend entire years worth of periods apart, and in those years, he's always challenging her, right? He's always saying, I want you to do this, and I want you to do that, and I want you, right? Pushing her outside of her comfort zone. So it's not him himself that is completely responsible for her newfound confidence, but he pushes her to be better. I don't know. I think it's just something with Colleen and her ability to write a male character, because she writes very likable people. Sure, they're always beautiful, and that is always in the eyes of the beholder, obviously. It's not like the attraction is based on their level of hotness, right? The attraction is really based on their character as a person and on their personality as a person. And that's what we fall in love with, right? In every book I've ever read by Colleen Hoover, and I'm definitely going to talk about more, but in every book I've ever read, it's always the personality of the male character that makes me like him, that makes me sort of oh my word, this guy's wonderful. It's rarely about the looks. It's never about the looks with Colleen. She never writes an ugly man, but she writes very likable and beautiful personalities. I mean, I'll be honest, based on the description of Ben, I don't think I'd necessarily be attracted to him. I feel like, on a physical basis, and girls, I am here for you. Looks matter. If you think the guy's ugly, no thank you, right? The next girl might think he's amazing, but if you don't like him, nay, right? That's my opinion. Sorry. But I fall in love with Ben's personality, right? Looks, just looking at him, I'm sort of ugh, right? But his personality, it's oh, I really like this guy, right? He's goofy. I like him. Now, he is no aloof, moody artist. You know me and my moody artists. I love them. But we do love Ben. We do love Ben. okay? He's the goofball one. Ben stands up for Fallon. He really empowers Fallon in a really beautiful way. It's not just, oh girl, I want to like hook up with you. It's not like, oh girl, you're hot. It's not just like, oh, he's giving me bedroom eyes and he's so seductive and I can't believe he's looking at me. It's not just that. It's, he's very pleasant company and he enjoys Fallon's company and he likes to talk to Fallon and he looks at Fallon, right? Which that's a big thing for her, is that she wants to be looked at, not, she doesn't want people to like avert their eyes like she's a disease. She wants people to look at her, and he does, and he makes her feel beautiful. He makes her feel confident, but most of that is just because he likes her company, he enjoys her company, and he is pleasant company. Now, as far as the whole like November 9th thing, I thought that was super creative. I loved how the date held a lot of significance for Fallon, and then secret significance for Ben that we find out later on in the book in a very heartbreaking, horrific way why it's so significant to him. But I really liked the whole significance of it, and I really liked how every single time they met, things had changed, right? Things had changed in their life. And I think that, I don't know, in some ways, like, Ben's life didn't necessarily always change. Fallon's life always was sort of different, and I liked the blend of both because, I don't know, for me, it's one of those deals where it's like, honestly, like, if I am honest, there have been years where it's like, yeah, like, not much has changed, It's there might have been like some significant moments, but for the most part, from the outside looking in, my life hasn't changed. But at the same token, there have also been years where it's like, oh yeah, like everything has changed and I have been uprooted and I am completely different. And so I really liked that, we had both sort of versions of them in this story. And I thought that it was a very interesting dynamic how, they technically spent years apart, right? Like, oh yeah, we've spent a total of a few hours within like a few hours, 5 days max together, right? And like we've fallen in love. But I really liked that whole like, they came together and it was really natural and it was very, like, oh, like we have engaging conversation and very relational, and they had that conversational connection continuing to bring them back for more, which I loved, right? I loved that it was not just like, oh, I just can't wait to get you into my bed. Like, it wasn't like that. It was more of that whole idea of, I just really want to spend time with you, and I just really want to talk to you, and I just, right? Like, they would have, jokes and stuff like that, but for the most part, it was like, oh, I just really want to talk to you. And I loved that. I loved that it's like they really just were yearning to be around each other and to be with each other every November. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm desperate for your body, but I'm really looking forward to talking to you and I want to talk to you, right? And I have so much to tell you. The heartbreaking November 9th, I'm going to be honest, I was shattered. I was shattered. I read this book a few years ago, and I was shattered then, and I was just as shattered now. And while it was shattering, I think it was also really necessary, because Fallon is basically, I'm talking, there are a couple of heartbreaking November 9s, obviously. I'm talking the first one, when Fallon goes out to meet him, and then she realizes that it's like, okay, he's gonna follow me, but he's gonna leave behind all of his dreams to follow me, and she doesn't want that for him. And I think that it was really beautiful, the fact that it's like they're not so washed up in each other that it's like, oh, I'll follow you wherever you go, and the other one's just like, okay, right? It wasn't that worship of each other. It was this very functional relationship, because Fallon's basically saying, listen, Ben, you gave me the opportunity to go. Like, you let me leave and you didn't make me feel bad about it, and you challenged me, and that challenge changed my life, right? And I'm better for it. And I have this new path that I'm going down, and I've discovered myself, and I've discovered who I am and what I want to do. And she's basically giving that opportunity to Ben, right? She's giving Ben that opportunity because she's like, I don't want to force you to give up everything for me, because you didn't make me feel like I had to give everything up for you. And so I thought it was really beautiful, especially in terms of, having that younger relationship, because I'm going to be honest, like, you often hear things like that, right? Like, you often hear things where it's like, okay, let's say high schoolers, they get together, they meet in high school, and, they're high school sweethearts, and they get married, at a young age. And then it's like they hit 28, 29, 30 years old, and they have regret, and they start to think, well, what would I have become, or who would I be if I didn't have this person in my life, right? It's sort of that idea where they got together so young that they sort of like grow into the same person, and like they become like, oh, your interests are my interests, and we do everything together, and like there's nothing different. You know, everything you do, you have in common, right? Like you have everything in common because you grew up together. You became the same person. You know, there's sort of that moment where you're thinking, well, what if I didn't end up with you? What if I was able to actually explore what my interests are, right? Like the interests that I can do on my own, the things that I can do alone, the things that, right, like my thing, not our thing, but my thing. And I think that that was really beautiful in this story because, you know, Fallon and Ben, they both have their thing, right? And they both allow each other to have their thing. And Fallon is letting Ben have and find his thing. And so I thought that was really beautiful, and I thought it was very mature, right? And I think it was very beautiful just to see them become, you know, individuals and grow and mature into individuals, not just, you know, soppy, infatuated messes, you know, like we see a lot of times in a lot of romance novels where it's like, you know, this is infatuation and this is, you know, puppy eyes and this is, you know, I'm following you around and whatever you love, I love, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But with this, it's like, you know what, like, I'm going to do my thing, you're going to do your thing, and we're going to see if that works, okay? Now the plot twist. Like, whoa, what? What? Let me tell you, I was not expecting that. I was actually surprised again this time. It was like I was reading the book and I was like, I know there's something with Ben, but I can't remember what it is. And then it dawned on me, like it hit me when I was reading it, obviously. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It's a real humdinger of a problem. I sort of had this inkling that it was like, oh, maybe somebody else that Ben knows has something to do with the fire that, you know, hurt Fallon and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But I had completely forgotten, and I remember the first time I read it, it was the last thing on my mind that Ben had something to do with the fire. Like, personally, him actually having something to do with the fire. That completely surprised me. And while I was super sad by Fallon's response to the fact that it's like, oh yeah, this is like, Ben did that, right? Really sad by that. I also think that it was really like granted, obviously, right? Where it's like, yeah, that's terrible, right? That's terrible. You were literally like, you started the fire on my house and now I'm disfigured and I've had all of these problems because you set my house on fire. You know, I mean, bro literally destroyed her life. Sure, it was an accident, but still, you know, I mean, I feel like, yeah, that's always going to give you a little bit of tension. There's always going to be some tension there when the boy you are like falling for was sort of the reason and the cause for your life falling apart. Absolutely. I mean, that'd be a real downer. That'd be a real downer for anyone. Not to mention, oh yeah, he's also like, he knew, right? He knew it was me. He knew it was me for 5 years. Right? He knew it was me for 5 years. And, you know, while there's that part of you that is thinking, oh, well, like, it's not about that, right? It's not about that. He just actually likes you and stuff like that. I understand completely where Fallon would be like, have I just been being played this entire time? Is he just, like, gaslighting me in some fashion? Or is he, like, having a little, you know, ha-ha behind his, you know, behind closed doors and stuff like that at my expense? You know, what is this? Have I been being played for 5 years? Am I just his little private joke for the last 5 years? I mean, I totally get that. Because I think everybody's been there before where you feel like you're really close to somebody and then you realize it's like, oh, no, I didn't know that you did this, or I didn't know that, you know, you are doing this, or, you know, whatever. And you sort of feel like super humiliated, right? Where it's like, have I just been a joke to you this whole entire time? And it's embarrassing, right? It's embarrassing. And so I completely understand Fallon's response. While, I mean, I'm obviously still heartbroken by it, but I totally get it as well, because I feel like, you know, any human, right? Decent or indecent human being would probably respond in a similar fashion where it's like, excuse me, you did what? Now, obviously they end up together because I told you that you didn't have to fret, okay? So they end up together. Hallelujah. Everybody's happy. Yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing. Colleen likes to conclude her books like a classic horror film, okay? The monster's dead, the end. No closure, okay? There's a lot of things in this story that I wanted some closure on. Like, okay, so Ben and Fallon, they're obviously together now, but like, what does their relationship look now that they're together all the time, right? Like, oh, do they move in together? Do they get married? You know, yada, yada, yada. Like, what happens now that they are together and not just, you know, once a year? What does, you know, Fallon and Ben's relationship look like with Jordan and Ben's nephew in the picture, right? Like, what does that look like? And what's that dynamic like? What is Fallon's relationship with Ben's nephew? I would love to know that, because I feel like that could have been really cute. What about Fallon and her dad's relationship, right? Like, there's a lot of like loose ends that it's like, man, like I would love a little bit of closure. Obviously, I think that there's a little bit of Colleen's writing that it's very down to earth, to where it's like, yeah, there is no closure in life, right? Like, life is moving. It's not like there's all these conclusions and it's clean and tidy. That's not a thing, right? And so I think that sometimes Colleen likes to give us a little dose of reality, unfortunately. But I mean, I just have a lot of questions. But it was just, you know, like, okay, like, we're good now. Okay. So those are my thoughts on November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Side note, if you read this book, I highly recommend that you do. Did you notice the little like sneak preview, or like the little like appearance by Miles and Tate from Ugly Love? I had never put that together. Honestly, I think that I actually flip-flopped when I read them. I think I read November 9 first, and then I read Ugly Love second, when I read them all the first time. And yeah, I did not even get that connection at all. But I got it this time. I love that. It was super cute. It was just like a little, you know, hey, we're alive kind of situation. And I loved it. As minor as it was, I loved it. So what are your thoughts on November 9 by Colleen Hoover? Was it a little, like, was it reaching for you? I could sort of see where this story would be a little bit of a stretch for some people, just because it's like, seriously? Like, number one, what guy is gonna actually show up once a year? I mean, honestly, I just have that in the back of my mind always, where it's like, guys tend to be a little bit out of sight, out of mind. Like, is he actually gonna show up? Doubtful. But I mean, okay, this is romance world. What about, you know, actually falling in love over the course of 5 years, only getting together once a year, right? Like, was it a little bit of a stretch for you? Again, I could definitely see where it could be a stretch, but let me know your thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts. Those are all my thoughts. Yeah. Question. If you could have a day, like a month and day, that was super significant and that you would meet up with your dream boyfriend once a year, what day would it be? I feel like mine would be like October 27th or something like that, because I just love the spooky season. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.